Kia ora, and welcome back, everybody. Thank you, first of all, for the support. Hey, we'll dive into that, and I'll put up a couple of videos about what's been happening recently with regards to the channel, just to express appreciation, not to try to sell anything. But we're here for part 2 of my reaction to Mr. Willie Apiata VC's Reluctant Hero documentary that was done about him for his actions in Afghanistan. So let's jump back in.
New Zealand has a new living legend, a man who displayed...
Back at the hotel, Willie watches his story lead the national news for the second time that day.
It hasn't changed me at all. Still just one of the boys back at work, and always will be.
Awesome.
That is awesome. I just heard that there. You would have heard that. Hasn't changed them at all. Far out. I never served. I never had the privilege to serve with Willie in 1NZ SAS. But from what I know of him and having seen this documentary many years ago, whilst over in the Middle East at the time in Baghdad, one thing that has stuck out to me, and when I first met him in person, was that he is the same person as what he was in this documentary. He is just like the boys said that I was working with overseas at the time, that said, man, what you see is what you get. How you see him on this documentary is exactly how he is in person. And I had the privilege to experience that firsthand and to share some time and space with the man. So it's just amazing to see this, to hear the words that he's saying here in this documentary, in that interview. Hasn't changed him at all. Just one of the boys. It's yeah, it is awesome. Like, I think it might have been the CEO that said that.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. 63 separate media stories about Willie, online coverage throughout New Zealand, now spreading to Australia, France, and the UAE.
This is just an awesome thing that's happening.
I
I didn't think it'd be that big at all, but it just felt like it almost went global, just like that.
Some messages.
Sorry, I'm going to cut in again. Just the measure of the man, eh? I didn't think it'd be that big at all. Yeah, I'm stoked that I have the privilege and the space and this platform to add my 2 cents for what it's worth, but more so just to give my thoughts and my reactions and my own personal commentary on in this case Mr. Willie Apiata VC. Just the humility just is, I know I'm probably blinking repeating myself, but the humility is just really, really, really genuine, really sincere, really just, you can't fake that. You can't fake that type of person. And not that I'm trying to suggest that he is at all. No way. But man, it's just beautiful to see. That's where I'm coming from. It's beautiful to see.
The support that have come to Corporal Willie Apiata from Snoop in South Korea. That makes me proud to be a Maori again. From Sunny Ambudi, salam peace. God bless you and your family for the ultimate good deed you have done in Afghanistan. From Dean from Queensland, Kia Willie, well done, bro, from the bros in Iraq. Kia kaha, Dino. Nice one. If I see you in the pub, it's my shout. Hey, get that guy's name.
For those charged with protecting the secret, the public announced
100% get that guy's name for him, eh? But yeah, I think that warms the heart, man, to hear that, to see the CEO reading those messages out. Obviously can see what it means to Willie, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see and witness, and for me to relive listening and hearing these things. So deserving. Yeah, just really deserving.
announcement of Willie's Victoria Cross has gone off without a hitch.
Cheers to you and your team.
Really the relief that it was finally out there. For me, it was a great relief because I'd sat on it for some 10 months or so. But all of a sudden it was a secret that didn't have to be kept anymore.
In just a few hours, Corporal Willie Apiata of the NZ...
Sorry, I'll rewind if I have to. What's beautiful, I think I mentioned this in the first reaction, the blurred face that you see there. That man I'm just glad that he was there. I think it mentioned in the first one, or the first piece that I did, the first sort of 15 minutes, that a trusted mentor. So he's got the CO, he's got the RSM, and a trusted mentor, and that man definitely is. And just to have him there would have just really, in my opinion, no doubt, just really helped calm and settle Willie. Not that the CO or the RSM wouldn't put him at ease. You could see the CO had his back in the media, press, and all that sort of stuff, which is awesome. But yeah, there's something about that gentleman. If there ever comes a time when I could ever name him, I would gladly do it, out of love and respect for that gentleman. Nothing else, no more. But having the interactions that I've had with him and seeing his actions in person play out in the way that he supported me, he 100% would not want me to say his name. So yeah, I won't say his name, but if I ever had the opportunity, there's a number of Kiwis that I would too, whose names I would love to mention from the unit, who have just had a lasting impression and a lasting impact on me. Men that I was fortunate to not serve with in the unit itself, but work in and out of the private security sector together for a period of time. Just amazing men, the lot of them. And anyway, they were talking about, hang on, I'm going to rewind a bit because I can't remember.
Because I'd sat on it for some 10 months or so, but all of a sudden it was a secret that didn't have to be kept anymore.
In just a few hours, Corporal Willie Apiata of the NZ SAS has become an official New Zealand hero, but a reluctant one.
Before they announced it, I'd finally sort of put it to rest. But it's resting no more. It's going to be there now for the rest of my life. But, you'll never forget that night. It'll always be there.
And that's a huge, I could never relate to that or understand what that must be like. Like he said, it's always going to be there. I think when he was talking about, I'm not sure, but we'll see when we'll hit play again, and he's talking about putting that to rest. I think he's talking about that he had put that particular event, that contact, where his actions saved the life of one of his team members. I think that's what he was talking about when he says he'd put that to bed. He's just sort of like, business as usual, BAU, let's crack on. Here to do a job, and he loves the job, and he's good at the job, competent, capable, skilled, experienced, and I would assume he's just getting ready, treating each day like every other day, but with intent, with purpose to try to develop and hone those skills and get better. But what I was going to allude to, or what I was trying to get to as well, not allude to, was around just the fact that that's always going to be there. Willie Apiata, VC. I could never imagine the weight of responsibility that surely comes with that. People's perception of him, people's opinions of him, good, bad, right, wrong, whatever their opinions are is what they are. People's perceptions of him. He's in the spotlight for the rest of his life. And that I could never imagine. It must be a huge weight to carry, especially considering the type of work that he's chosen to go into. He's chosen to go into a place that there are no spotlights and cameras on you. It's not, and it's intended, it's intentional for that way. People that want to join there aren't looking for the spotlight. Maybe they are, maybe that's what I'm doing now after, but it's certainly not something that you're looking to do when you're going in and when you have the privilege and the opportunity to serve. So I couldn't even imagine what he's feeling and what must be going through his head. And it must have been the same for Mark Donaldson VC and Ben Robert-Smith VC as well, the lads over in Australia. So yeah, just a lot of weight, a lot of responsibility to shoulder for the rest of his life, for the rest of his days. That's a lot.
Following the 9/11 attacks, an international coalition was on the hunt for Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Among those pursuing the terrorists were the New Zealand SAS. Renowned trackers, they're one of the world's leading special forces. Highly skilled and self-sufficient, the New Zealanders were able to penetrate far behind enemy lines in all environments. They were ideally suited for the rugged Afghanistan landscape. Operating small convoys of motorcycle pathfinders and armed patrol vehicles, the SAS faced an elusive enemy that had used the local terrain to deadly effect against the Russian army years before. Among those handpicked for this deadly mission was Corporal Willie Apiata.
Have all these things that may happen to you, but you resort to the training that you've been given.
Sorry, I was just going to say something. Say, yeah, what a scucks looking fella there in that photo. But yeah, geez, the ideally suited to the terrain and that sort of thing. Yeah, but I think the training, the rehearsals, the planning, the individuals themselves is what makes the unit, and in my opinion is what enables the unit to be able to do what it does. Without that training, without that support as well that goes along with that, a lot of moving parts behind the scenes to help the guys do what they need to do. But the individuals themselves, because probably the closest thing we have is the Waiuru training ground, which is full of tussock bushes and much, a desert type area, but very different, very, very different to Iraq, to Afghanistan, all those types of things. And then you're going into an environment that just, history has shown has got a lot of attempts to try to conquer and hold and maintain and retain that land, and just has never been able to be done. So yeah, it's not surprising that after the conflict, 20 plus years, you move out and it's just like that, it's retaken again. We are collectively slow learners, it would seem. But anyway, back to this fella. That picture just stuck out to me. I've got a couple of other pictures of Willie from his time after interviewing a good friend of his, and I consider him a good friend of mine, Kane Middleton. We're on the same selection and cycle together, and it's cool to see in those photos the bonds that they have.
Mission was Corporal Willie Apiata.
Have all these things that may happen to you, but you resort to the training that you've been given.
Moving through villages and outposts, the New Zealand troopers gathered intelligence on any suspicious movements.
We're chasing information, and information to us is currency.
And while they're chasing that, the enemy is collecting their own information at the same time.
Good information could lead them directly to the enemy. On this occasion, a cache of guns, explosives, and rocket-propelled grenades were taken from the enemy. But Corporal Willie Apiata's patrol would not be so lucky on their next encounter. Their time in the capital has gone to plan, and the commanding officer and his team head back to base. But changes in Willie's life are already apparent.
In the first person to ask him for an autograph, sort of said, would you mind giving me an autograph? And well, he said sure, and looked at me and wasn't quite sure what to do.
I completely forgot about that, but that's cool that the CEO has asked. Obviously, CEO, he's an intelligent man. He understands the magnitude of that, and getting an autograph from New Zealand's first VC winner since I can't remember when it was. I think it was mentioned in the first one. That's my bad. And currently the only current living VC recipient here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. amazing. I know there's some stuff happening whereby I think he's handed his Victoria crossover because of the stuff to do with veteran affairs and things like that. I haven't delved right into that yet. That's sad to hear. That might be something that I might look at later, but I'd probably look to reach out to Willie and just have a private conversation with him probably first before I did anything like that. But yeah, coming back to the CO asking for the autograph, I wonder if the RSM did as well. I don't imagine the mentor that I've spoken about in the first one and in this one so far. I can't imagine him asking Willie for an autograph, although he may have. It just doesn't seem like something that he would do, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I'm glad that the CEO has asked Willie for his autograph, because that's special. I wonder what he got him to sign it on. I hope it wasn't just a piece of Blinken field notebook paper. Hope it was something more significant than that.
I've never been asked for an autograph, so it was new to me as well. I said, well, just put your name. So he did. He wrote Willie and handed it back. And I said, well, we can probably do a bit better than that next time. So, of course, now he signs himself Willie Apiata VC, as he should.
That's a hard case. And just hearing the CEO speak about he just wrote Willie and handed it back, that's not surprising. I mean, yeah, he's taken in a heck of a lot in a really short period of time, and it's probably the last thing he's expecting to be asked, especially from his CEO. But I'm really pleased that the CEO did take the time to do that. So yeah, like I said, hopefully he signed Willie Apiata VC on something a little bit more substantial than just those Blinken field notebooks. Army issue field notebook.
Corporal Willie Apiata returns to base and back to the routine of a Special Forces soldier. He hopes.
He was welcomed back, and it was business as usual as far as the guys were concerned. Handshakes, not too many. It's business as usual as far as the guys were concerned.
Just sorry. Oh, I've gone too far.
He hopes.
Looks like, well, that time still some of the same sort of CQB techniques that were being used. A gentleman by the name of Tank Todd. That's all I can really remember, isn't it? What he went by, Tank Todd. I think he came up from the South Island. Solid unit, really knowledgeable, and he was the head instructor as far as my time going through the cycle anyway in NZ for that aspect of the course, the hand-to-hand, the knife stuff. Yeah, really knowledgeable and seemed like a really good guy. I don't think he was ever an operator within the unit. I think just over the years and his experience, and he traveled around the world and trained with a lot of highly regarded experts at hand-to-hand combat and knife fighting and all that sort of stuff in the States, and I think in the UK and other parts of the world. From memory anyway, I can't remember all the details, but to have that sort of knowledge and access to that resource here in little old New Zealand, for me, again, 20 turning 21 on that cycle, my eyes are like wide open, taking everything in, and really enjoyed it. So just seeing them doing some of the movements felt real weird and awkward, I'll be honest. Felt like this doesn't seem right, but it was just unfamiliar to me till it became familiar, and then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could see how this could work. And then when we had the milling stuff to do without striking each other's kneecaps or blinking, groin or any of those other sort of areas, I started to piece together how it could and would work in a situation if we had to use it. So yeah, shout out to Tank Todd. So I mentioned that.
He was welcomed back, and it was business as usual as far as the guys were concerned. Handshakes, not too many man hugs going around this place.
Doesn't matter if he's wandering around with a Victoria Cross on his chest. If he does something wrong, he's going to know about it.
Hey, that's funny about the not too many man hugs. Yeah, I can't speak to that for what that's like in the unit once you're in. But I know in Australia it was pretty. I'm just rewinding the clock right now as rapidly as I can, trying to think of times. Yeah, there was the odd occasion, but yeah, it was mostly just a handshake and that as well. So yeah, that's hard case to hear that. Forced me to sort of roll through the mental memory as quickly as I could and go, actually, yeah, that's the same in Oz, probably the same in the UK. Yeah, not too many man hugs in this place. Crack up.
I was coming in every morning. Still do PT as usual every morning. And the feet back on the ground, working with the lads. Doing some shooting, just getting a bit of cordite back in the nostrils. Getting your eye back in and making sure you're still doing it.
Despite his attempts to return to normality, everything has changed for Willie Apiata. He's the only corporal in the New Zealand military with his own office.
He's only a corporal. He's got his own office, but he's got to answer a couple of hundred emails and letters every few days. I don't think any other corporal around the place would want to do that.
Man, I'd forgotten about that too. I do recall, vividly bits and pieces about him needing to respond to just massive amounts of letters of appreciation and gratitude, and yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, hearing that, and hearing the RSM speak as well, yeah, I think he's right. I don't know of any NCO that would want to have that responsibility to be replying to all these real sincere, genuine, heartfelt, and well-deserved, well-earned messages coming into him. But yeah, you got to set him up to be able to do that, because people have taken the time to put down and express their thoughts, their feelings, to share some of their personal stories with Willie. And I know Willie would want to be able to try to respond to them, even in some small way. But that in and of itself, man, that must have been a mammoth task, and probably still to this day. I would imagine there's probably still messages and stuff from time to time that reach his doors or his letterbox, and that's awesome. But yeah, man, that I would not want that job, or wouldn't want to be having to do that. Mind you, you know what, sorry, slightly off the specific topic of Willie right now. I think, just for me, somewhat from a, not trying to be selfish or anything here, but the growth of the channel and the amount of comments in the stories and things that have been shared here, and the knowledge and wisdom that's been passed on too, from people that have served, people that haven't served but have got really clearly well-educated opinions about things, and things that I may have said or spoken about in my videos. Man, I want to reply to every single one of them, and I'm doing my best to do that. I honestly don't know how long I will be able to maintain that for, because my passion and drive and stuff here with this channel is doing this content, reacting to them. Then I've got to edit them, which I'm still rubbish at, and I've got to upload it, and all the exporting and stuff takes a while. But I do appreciate it. So to a real small, tiny, minute scale, I can sort of, that's just popped into my head now. I can sort of, to a really tiny degree, not to the same level as what Willie is having to do and has had to do, I can sort of relate to the importance of that. When people give their time to ask a question, or to reach out and or to share information or an experience that they've had, for me, I think it's only right that you try to acknowledge that and respond as best you can. But anyway, let's get back to Willie. Sorry about that.
Messages have flooded in from politicians, celebrities, sporting heroes, war veterans, and other proud regiments from every part of society and corner of the globe.
And to get a feel of how all the people are feeling out there. The response from them was awesome. It was just overwhelming.
It's been an interesting process. A lot of people have asked for Willie to go and speak, or to be present at events. I think a lot of people forget that Willie's actually still a soldier, and he's a soldier in the SAS.
Great comment, great point. I can understand and respect, people wanting and having a desire. Could we have Willie come speak at this event, this occasion, etc.? Needs like a what do you call it? Like a manager. I think they use the managers in the professional sports era. or area. Needs one of those people anyway. I'm not sure if he ever, it's not something that I ever asked him when I had shared some time and space with him. But I wonder if, because I wonder if they did, or if something was done, or maybe it was just the RSM, or maybe it was the mentor that sort of filled those roles to try to filter that. Because, like the CEO said, he's a soldier in the unit, and you got plenty of mahi to do. So hence why you're not trying to stand out while you're serving as an operator within the unit. Not like this anyway. You're not trying to be on television or any of that sort of stuff.
Trying to keep things as normal as we can, trying to schedule events as best we can not to disrupt him. Where possible, get him out for a jump with the lads.
But Willie's newfound status is now inescapable, even at work. A member of the flight crew ambushes Willie for an autograph while he prepares for a training jump with other members of the unit's amphib troop.
That's really cool. And if I was in their shoes, I would have done the same thing as that crew member, and or anybody else there to, hey, could I get your autograph? Well, actually, I don't know if I get it. Yeah, I probably would ask. That's cool. Actually, just in saying that, I just thought of that now, saying that I probably would ask. I actually didn't ask when I spent time with him, so that's my own fault. But I'm sure I'll have an opportunity to catch up with him again, and maybe when I've got something more substantial to request an autograph from him for, then I might be able to, might have the smarts to remember to ask him.
A few brief moments of isolation under canopy offer Willie his only relief from the attention. But there is one set of faces that Willie is desperate to see.
My family's suffering for it at the moment. But I know I just got to be patient, and I'll get that time alone.
Over the next few days, media interest intensifies on Willie Apiata and the actions in Afghanistan that led to his Victoria Cross.
I'm going to pause this one here because it's nearly 30 minutes on there. But again, I could never imagine, well, I suppose to a small degree, but not in this type, not in this environment, not where he's been pulled and not torn, but pulled towards needing all these media obligations, I guess is what they might be called, that he now has to front and do. And the heaviness, the burden of that, the weight of that responsibility, but then also, just wanting to be with his family. That must have been extremely hard, and a lot of pressure for not only him, but also for his family to have to cope with, to try to navigate through. So, hopefully as things go on, and no doubt there'll be other Kiwis, Australians, Americans, Canadians, British, other people from other coalition forces that will continue to do incredible things in extremely challenging, difficult, and life-threatening times. I have no doubt of those things happening and continuing to happen. But hopefully, maybe there can be a little bit more, I don't know, sensitivity towards the time and trying to not necessarily find a balance. I don't know if you can really get a real genuine balance of things, but if they can try to be a bit more mindful of the pressure that puts on the individual. Yet people may see Willie as a superhero, right? And as they probably, well, no, I shouldn't say as they probably should, as they may well do. That's probably a better way of saying it. Admiration and respect for him, 100%, absolutely. But just flesh and blood, just skin and bone, just a normal person who was willing to, in that moment, was confronted with some options and he chose a heck of an option. But really, in the bigger scheme of things, and at the essence and the core and at the heart of the unit and operators within the unit, and I've touched on this, not specifically like this, but touched on it to a degree, those guys are willing to lay their lives down for each other. And I've never experienced that anywhere else, and I've been privileged to work in a heck of a lot of places outside of the SAS. And so therefore, it really wasn't an option or a choice for him. There was always going to be one option for him, and that was save his mate and do everything that he can. And if it meant exposing himself and dying in the process to do that, he was always going to do it. And it's a beautiful thing, man. To have men like that, to be surrounded by men like that, with that mindset, with that attitude, you can't help personally. I personally can't help but be drawn to that environment. Yeah, it can only make you better as an individual and just as a human being. So yeah, I'll pause this one here. Again, before I close off as per normal, I really want to take this time to acknowledge and thank, man, every single one of you out there that has been kind enough to support my lowly little channel. Started it 15th of March last month. Wasn't really sure, really didn't have an idea as to what I was going to do. I've just had this feeling that, hey, I've got some experience that I've been really blessed and fortunate to earn, to try to apply in a whole bunch of different situations and a whole bunch of different environments. I've had a whole bunch of challenges and struggles like everybody else, right? Everybody's got a story, everybody's got knowledge, everybody's got information, everybody's been through suffering, hardship, 100%. I'm nothing unique or special in that sense, and not trying to be. But I just felt, hey, maybe there's an opportunity that I can use this platform in some way to share that and help others. I did have the platform before with Epa Aotearoa, I felt, but I spoke a bit about that in one of the other videos, and as we were going, I knew then at that time that the amazing guests that I was having the privilege to interview across the whole thing of the Epa Aotearoa podcast, but particularly with the Who Dares Win series with ex-SF operators, not only was it a privilege and learning a lot, but it was really just helping my or the channel that I had with my brother-in-law at that time was just helping us, and it just didn't sit right personally. And then some other things happened, and then I guess the timing of that, when those two sort of things not collided, but when those two things, significant things and important things to me came about, I took that as a sign that, hey, I need to step away from this, and the timing of it just sort of worked out well in terms of what I was feeling about the old Epa Aotearoa podcast, and also with the other significant events in regards to family and what happened and the decisions that some family members were making. So the timing just worked out well. Everything happens for a reason, even though we may not always like those reasons as to why they happen. But things have certainly changed now, and this approach or this opportunity sort of just presented itself as I was going through. I'll be honest, I had seen some reactions from other people on the internet in regards to military stuff, and some of it I liked, some of it I didn't like. And I thought, you know what, it'll be the same with me. Some people may like what I say or how I present, other people may just hate it, and each to their own. So that's how sort of this came about, and I'm just really grateful for the support and time and kindness that people have shown to me on this small channel. I have every intention of trying to get it to grow to wherever that ends up growing to. I'll be absolutely transparent about that. Not making and haven't made any moves to do any monetization or anything like that. So because I've got that much content that I'm just really enjoying reviewing, watching, and reacting to. So doing the videos and then editing them and uploading them, etc. Like, I'm loving that process. And I think for me personally, if I can stay as close and as true to that, well, not as close, if I can stay true to that and close to that the whole time, I think good things will naturally happen. I'll naturally get a little bit quicker and better at editing. I'll hopefully get better at speaking and not ramble too long during the videos or the reactions that I'm doing, like what I've been doing in all my videos up to now, and even now at this point. And then maybe with that efficiency and that confidence and that growth that I will hopefully have, that I can then apply that to then trying to look at, okay, how does this monetizing thing work? Because that would be great. Personally, I would love to be able to be in a space where I could do that. But right now, I'm not in a space that I can do that. But I am in a space that I can do these reactions, and I'm loving it. So thank you very much, everybody, for your time, your support, your generosity, the kind comments, even the cheeky comments, even the comments where people may heavily disagree with what I have to say. Yeah, everybody is entitled to their opinion, and everybody has a voice, just like it is and was, or just like it was in my time, and just like it is in the unit. Everybody has a voice, whether you're the commanding officer, whether you're a lowly trooper, aka a private. Everybody has a voice, and it's great that we have a platform or platforms like these where people can. Even though I might not agree with some of the comments, I may even not like them. Hey, I've got to acknowledge that yep, I see you, I hear it. Thanks for that. Each to their own, and crack on. So that aside, as always, any challenges, any challenges, trials and struggles, there's a combination, maybe struggles is a new word, trials and struggles that you may be going through, man, just keep turning up. Just stay in the fight. Just put one step in front of the other. There are better days ahead. Just around the corner, just over the horizon, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. However you want to frame that, that is real. There are challenges. We're going to continue to experience them. I'm going to encounter a heck of a lot more challenges along the way, as are you, as are we all. So just encourage you to do the best you can and keep turning up each day. Yeah, go always a little further, and remember, who dares wins. Until the next video, thanks again.